Marvel Rivals will overthrow Overwatch. I know. That is a hard thing to say. For right now, the game is still just came out. That's probably a bold statement. But to introduce myself, my name is Fisher Oak. I've been playing Overwatch since its beta, and I am currently a top 500 Zarya player. I've seen the highs and the lows of Overwatch, and there are more downs than ups. Rivals is taking a different approach with the if everything's broken, no one's broken philosophy. And with open queues, the Overwatch balance team made the mistake of overcorrecting with nerfs, continuous meta shifts, and eventually introducing rogue queues. I personally stopped playing Overwatch because the game just got boring to me. Overwatch tried to maintain balance by forcing strict rogue queues. These then led to anger and like a loss of freedom for many players. I personally miss the days where I can like see where our team is messing up at and I can change characters. Now it's like if I'm tank and there's a DPS diff or like a healer diff, all I can do is just suggest and hope that they listen, or like something goes wrong and or I just have to do better as a tank or just do more damage. If there's a DPS or healer diff, good luck with that. Unlike traditional role lock, which locks players into a single role and often is a big middle finger to flexibility, I have another solution. I introduced preferred role queues. Could be a smart alternative in preferred role queues. So you select a preference for a specific role you want to play as, but you're not locked in. It's more like choosing which you would prefer to play as. Now their algorithm can like get a team based off of that, either a tank, DPS, or support, but they are not locked in. This allows for team composition that might look stupid on paper, but can lead to interesting teams without forcing meta dominance. For example, instead of everyone trying to stick to a single role or being forced into one strategy like 2-2-2, for example, which means 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports, preferred role queues allow for flexibility like 3 DPS, 1 support, and 1 tank. This setup avoids the Overwatch lineup of like GOATs, which means 3 tanks, 3 supports, which keeps matches ever changing, making the games fun to play and watch. And if you ever tried watching Overwatch gameplay, it's not really as entertaining unless the player is like really good or just has good commentary. Now, the beauty of preferred role queues lies in its ability to balance choice with strategy. Early Overwatch had a share of issues with meta-focused gameplay that often turned into who has the most health and best heals. These meta-driven matches became tedious, but Marvel Rivals can avoid these pitfalls with the strategy-driven nature of the preferred role queues. Imagine a scenario where 3 DPS players all playing aggressive while 1 tank is focused on setting at a defensive point like the payload, the domination point, while the support can choose whether to prioritize healing for the DPS player's push or to the lead with a defensive support. With preferred role queues, Marvel Rivals allowed us to sort of choice and strategy without forcing meta competitions. This idea is simple: let players play who they want. I know, which sounds crazy. This used to be a thing in Overwatch 1. It actually really worked. While focusing on team success, it would encourage players to pick roles that best fit the match's flow and their skill set while still rewarding players for strategy. Now you're asking, what if they still don't play tank or support? That is where it could be a good thing for such a peer pressure to get other players to try other roles and be more flexible. I would have never tried Zarya if it wasn't for that, because when I first got Overwatch, I was strictly a Genji player, Tracer, Reaper player, and I eventually got tired of losing. Like, I wasn't a bad Genji, but it was either our tank wouldn't push up or our support was just too scared. It was just something had to change, and I decided I would just play Zarya, and then that's life's history. While Marvel Rivals mechanics are different from Overwatch's traditional meta-focused balancing, this system could fix many issues tied to forced roles or meta comp sets. Instead of focusing on repetitive team compositions, players will be free to adapt and shift strategies in creative ways. The absence of a single dominant meta could like make the game feel fresher and more dynamic, and like let the community have more fun. Like, that allows more flexibility, and it lets us know as a community that they just value choice. To wrap this up, I loved Overwatch for many years, but the game stopped loving me back. Marvel Rivals has found me post-breakup with a chance to take lessons from Overwatch's history and implement things like preferred role queues. Now, this may be a rose-tinted glasses thing since the game is in its first week and just got a beta, everyone's talking about it, but if Marvel Rivals continues to prioritize these concepts, open queues, mechanics, preferred role queues, and player choice, they can redefine how competitive team strategies work. The goal would be simple: play who you want, adapt when necessary, and win by building strong teams. Well, that's going to end my long-ended rant. Let me know what do you think about preferred role queues? Do you think that they could fix the problem? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you.